In the Imperial archives, I stumbled upon a name that lingered in hushed tones among the Scholarium, a name forgotten since the early days of the heresy. Constantine Valdor, first of the 10,000. Captain General of the Emperor's Custodians, the personal shield to the Emperor himself. The tomes hold much about this man, but time and neglect have veiled them in dust within our libraries. By all accounts, a remarkable demigod, a king among men. As the Emperor's companion since the earliest days of the Unification Wars, Valdor's devotion to the Emperor's survival was absolute. A demigod of vengeance, he became incarnate whenever the Emperor or his representatives faced threats. His valor remains unmatched in the annals of the Imperium, the Emperor's right hand. Nevertheless, every great leader requires an advisor and confidant, and that is where Malcador the Sigillite, the Emperor's left hand, came into play. As the Emperor's closest counselor, he oversaw intelligence and secret operations within the Imperium. A sage and mystic, he grasped the warp's profound intricacies and the lurking perils it posed. Valdor and Malcador, an extraordinary duo, epitomized the balance of the Emperor's power. Valdor, the embodiment of restraint and order, and Malcador, with his sagacity and psychic prowess, represented discretion and change. Through their potent duality, they steered the Emperor's decisions and strategies with a steady hand. Amidst the dark days of the Horus heresy, their partnership proved indispensable, defending the Imperium against treacherous forces seeking to sow discord. Valdor's unwavering defense of the Emperor and Malcador's wise counsel and support became the linchpin that granted the Imperium a fighting chance against the chaos that threatened to engulf it. In moments of crisis, the Emperor leaned heavily upon Valdor and Malcador, the steadfast pillars of strength. Valdor's martial brilliance, interwoven with Malcador's strategic genius, created an impenetrable force, shielding the Imperium from every conceivable threat. These two were more than just trusted lieutenants. They embodied the sacred values of duty, loyalty, and sacrifice, faithfully serving the Emperor's cause. Their bond forged a legacy that would forever be etched in the annals of history. Valdor's origins remain a mystery, veiled by the passage of time. Some believe he was one of the first genetically augmented warriors crafted by the Emperor of mankind, a prototype for the Adeptus Custodians to come. Others speculate he might be the original template for the mighty Primarchs. What is certain is that Valdor possessed supernatural stature and gravitas, setting him apart from ordinary mortals. His martial power and mental acumen were unmatched. Since the earliest days of the Unification Wars, he stood as the loyal companion to the Master of Mankind, earning the trust and respect bestowed upon him by the Emperor. Valdor's role extended beyond that of a mere warrior. He was the Emperor's confidant, staunch protector, and a beacon of loyalty. He forged the Imperium to be alongside the Emperor, enforcing his will and uniting disparate factions under a banner of strength. Whispers of Valdor's deeds echoed across the battlefields. His combat prowess rivaled that of the Primarchs, a fitting comparison given the Emperor's expertise in genetic creation. Valdor's unyielding loyalty and dedication were awe-inspiring, fearlessly risking his life to safeguard that of his master. As the Emperor's right hand, he wielded the Apollonian Spear, a gift forged by the Emperor himself. Valdor's importance is evident from the scribes' accounts of the Emperor's visions before Valdor's birth. Those visions guided the Emperor and his armies across the plains of Old Terra, leading them to claim the young Valdor as a babe. From that moment on, his life was devoted entirely to the service of the Emperor of mankind. To grasp Valdor's profound impact on the Imperium, we must delve into the origin and significance of the Apollonian Spear, a weapon that shaped his very character. The Apollonian Spear, alongside the Dionysian Spear, held great power, meant for Constantine Valdor, and later the Primarch Russ of the Space Wolves. While the Dionysian Spear embodied wildness and unpredictability, the Apollonian Spear represented restraint, order, and control. They were no ordinary blades but metaphysical instruments, evoking profound introspection in their wielders. When the Apollonian Spear was placed in Valdor's hands, it came with a unique burden. He experienced visions of his victims' lives with each kill, from demons to mortals and space marines. This was designed to keep him human, remind him of the consequences of his actions, and prevent him from growing callous or overly confident. Every kill weighed heavily on Valdor, as he carried the emotions and soul stories of those he had taken, a constant reminder of the impact of his deeds. The Emperor, wise as ever, understood the necessity of such a weapon for Valdor. He knew that killing had become too effortless for the first Captain General. By burdening him with the pain and memories of his victims, the Apollonian Spear acted as a powerful check on his power, ensuring he never lost touch with his humanity. Throughout his loyal service to the Emperor, Valdor bore this weight. The thousands of illuminations crowded his mind, each representing a life taken by his hand. The spear became his constant companion, inseparable from Valdor himself. He realized that he might never be able to release its grip. The weight of his actions and the suffering he witnessed left an enduring mark on his soul, forging him into a man of immense depth and compassion. Valdor is often seen as one of the most inhumane of the Emperor's chosen. His dedication to duty, with seemingly little room for human emotions, sets him apart. But there are rare instances where Valdor shows empathy and understanding of human emotions. In a sealed Vox feed after the fall of the Emperor, Valdor and Lemon Russ share a poignant moment. Here, Valdor reveals his ability to grasp human emotions and offers reassurance during great despair. Beneath his stoic exterior, Valdor can acknowledge and connect with the emotional struggles of others, especially those he holds in high regard, like Lemon Russ. Moreover, after combat, a light-hearted exchange between Valdor and Russ exposes another facet of Valdor's character. Despite his usual seriousness, he displays a dry sense of humor and camaraderie, proving that seemingly unemotional individuals can have moments of connection and social interaction. These glimpses into Valdor's empathy and social interactions unveil the complexity of his character, showing that he is more than just a cold and unfeeling automaton. While his primary focus remains on duty and loyalty to the Emperor, there is more to Valdor than meets the eye. Valdor stays humble and devoted to his duty above all else. He chooses not to challenge the Primarchs, even though he could potentially outmatch them in combat. Having sparred with many of them, his blade skill reportedly knows no equal. He understands the destructive consequences of pride and infighting among the Emperor's chosen sons, and he is resolute in avoiding adding to the conflicts that have troubled the Imperium. Valdor's dedication to endurance and preservation during the silence following the Emperor's withdrawal to the Golden Throne reveals his grasp of the bigger picture. He knows that the Emperor's guidance will return. In the meantime, it falls on them to maintain vigilance and endure the challenges that come their way. His readiness to endure insults and scorn from others, such as the Primarchs, further exemplifies his lack of personal pride. He seeks neither recognition nor validation for his actions. Instead, he stands unwavering in his loyalty to the Emperor and the greater purpose of the Imperium. Valdor's perspective on power and the magisterium showcases his profound humility. He views his role as an interpreter of truth, not a master of it. He recognizes that they are servants of a higher cause, and their duty lies in safeguarding and preserving the Imperium rather than pursuing personal ambitions or seeking dominance over others. His apparent selflessness and lack of pride make him unique and admirable. Despite his legendary status and close relationship with the Emperor, he remains devoted to his duty. He acts with humility and wisdom, setting an example for all who serve the Imperium. In my research from the archives on Valdor, one aspect stands out as legendary: his unparalleled combat ability. Throughout history, he remains among the most skilled and fearsome warriors, a reputation shrouded in myth and awe for millennia. Descriptions of Valdor's martial prowess trace back to the Unification Wars, where he showcased exceptional skills in battle alongside the Emperor himself. During the Great Crusade, Valdor's combat abilities were further astounded in significant events and campaigns, including the burning of Prospero and the Battle of Terra. He demonstrated such magnitude in combat that he could face hundreds of psychic blade masters of Magnus the Red and emerge victorious, sustaining only a single wound. Valdor's combat style combined finesse, precision, and supernatural prowess. Augmented by genetic enhancements and extensive training, his physical and mental capabilities made him nearly unmatched on the battlefield. Some even likened his skill to one of the Emperor's divine sons, rivaling the Primarchs. Yet despite his incredible martial abilities, Valdor was not driven by conquest, glory, or personal ambition. His sole focus lay in fulfilling his sworn duty as the Lord Commander of the Custodian Guard, safeguarding the Emperor and his chosen representatives. His combat expertise served as a means to ensure the survival and security of the Imperium. Studying Valdor, I get the sense of profound regret that emerges clearly: the creation of the Primarchs and the Astartes. From the start, reports indicate his reservations about these superhuman beings and foresight of their potential dangers. Despite his concerns, his words went unheeded, and he observed in silence as the Primarchs came into existence. His regret roots in the belief that these mighty warriors, including Lemon Russ and Rogel Dawn, have grown too deadly and prideful, yielding to hubris and arrogance. He confesses to not fully foreseeing the extent of their lethality, perhaps initially justifying their creation due to rapid conquests and successes. However, with time, the flaws in their making and the peril they posed to the Imperium became increasingly apparent. After the burning of Prospero, Valdor's anger becomes palpable as he witnesses the destruction caused by Magnus and Leman Russ. He mourns the monstrous pride exhibited by the Primarchs and questions the source of such arrogance. Despite seeing the tragedy, Valdor points not at the Emperor, but the Primarchs themselves, believing their pride and actions led to the ensuing events. Valdor's long life and profound comprehension of the Imperium's history contribute to his regret. He has witnessed countless wars and doomed conflicts unfold, convinced that certain events could have been averted with earlier intervention. Thus, he bears the weight of watching the Primarch's birth without intervening, allowing them to shape their destinies and ultimately become architects of their actions. Valdor's departure from Terra was deliberate and calculated. It carried a sense of purpose and planning, indicating a clear vision or mission driving him away from the throne world. As one of the few individuals the Emperor confided in and trusted utterly, Valdor held a deep connection with the ruler. His role as Captain General of the Custodian Guard granted him a place in the Emperor's inner circle. From being present at the first-ever engagement of the Astartes to involvement in the Unification Wars, Valdor's trust and influence were evident. The genetically encoded loyalty of the Custodians likely made Valdor aware of the Emperor's long-term plans and the existence of the Imperial truth. Such knowledge undoubtedly shaped his actions and decisions, allowing him to grasp the Emperor's vision on a level even the Primarchs might not fully understand. Valdor's loyalty to the Emperor remains unshakable, but as pointed out, it does not imply he lacks critical thinking. His wisdom allows him to see the implications of the Emperor's plans, even if it requires tough choices and sacrifices. Choosing solitude for his departure, Valdor left no trace of his presence in his chambers. The Apollonian Spear and his armor are stored safely within the vaults of the palace. Perhaps he questioned whether the Emperor anticipated the events, or if the current circumstances resulted from desperate measures to avert catastrophic calamity. The burden of loyalty and responsibility weighs heavily on him as he ventures into the unknown. However, his resolve remains steadfast, a testament to the unwavering dedication of one of the most iconic figures in the Imperium's history. As an inquisitorial librarian, I am left to contemplate the significance of Valdor's actions and his role in shaping the Imperium's history as his legacy endures across the millennia. More so, I contemplate what Valdor has planned as the future unfolds. I'm entangled in the secrets surrounding the enigmatic King in Yellow, whose true identity many in the Inquisition believe to be Valdor, but I'm not convinced. A figure of immense power and influence, he has amassed a vast and formidable army, rivaling the scale of a great crusade legion. The King in Yellow's stronghold, the City of Dust, is a testament to his might. He commands thousands of winged Astartes, Primarch Sanguinius clones, and hundreds of cloned nulls capable of controlling demons. However, the Yellow King's motives remain shrouded in uncertainty and intrigue. Allies and enemies alike believe he seeks the Emperor's true name in the language of Enuncia, a quest that could grant him unparalleled control over the Emperor. This has led many to view him as a threat to the Imperium, and he has been relentlessly hunted by individuals such as Inquisitors Eisenhorn and Ravenor. From the reports of Inquisitor Bequin, nothing is as it seems. and deception prevails. Thus, the fact that everyone sees Valdor as an enemy of the Emperor and the Imperium may hint at a different truth. His true intentions and plans remain veiled, and it is plausible that he is pursuing a mission aligning with the greater good of the Imperium. I ponder the significance of his enemies and the nature of his loyalty to the Emperor. His adversaries range from the Inquisition to the traitor legions and even the Elder. The multiple factions moving against the King in Yellow testify to the threat he poses or the importance of his mission. The traitor legions now seek to hinder him, adding to the mystery surrounding his actions. The stakes seem immeasurably high in the City of Dust, where his forces clash within the warp. Valdor is reputed to be the epitome of loyalty. Many sources attest to his devotion to the Emperor. This may render him an extension of the Emperor's will. If Valdor is incapable of disloyalty, his actions must serve the Emperor's greater purpose. His departure from Terra, cloaked in mystery, supports the notion that the Emperor may have sent him on crucial missions. Whatever his task, it is likely tied to the Emperor's long-term plans and the imperiled state of the Imperium. The City of Dust, resembling the Webway project, adds to the intrigue, raising questions about Valdor's role in its restoration or protection. Speculations arise about Valdor seeking the Emperor's name in Annuncia, not for control but to heal him, to mend the wounds that plague the Master of Mankind. Alternatively, Valdor may be preparing for a final showdown against the forces of chaos, a confrontation the Emperor may have foreseen. During these tumultuous times, his actions might aim to bolster the Imperium with a formidable army of superhuman soldiers, the Custodians. Of course, for now this is all hearsay and supposition, but for now I think we can assume that since his disappearance, and now, he has made plans to help the Emperor. The question remains, will Valdor return? I cannot help but ponder the possibilities. The figure's departure from Terra was shrouded in mystery, leaving behind a legacy steeped in intrigue. Many rumors and speculations abound, but no concrete answers surface. Some believe Valdor's loyalty to the Emperor is unwavering, and his departure was merely part of a greater plan, a mission to safeguard the Imperium in the Emperor's name. They argue that his return might be imminent, a triumphant arrival to aid humanity in its darkest hours. Others, however, harbor doubts. They question the true nature of Valdor's intentions and wonder if his vanishing was a conscious decision to distance himself from the Imperium and its struggles. In this view, his return might remain uncertain, leaving the Imperium to navigate its path without his formidable presence. As an observer amidst the shifting sands of time, I must remain impartial in my analysis. The fate of Constantine Valdor remains an enigma, and only time will reveal the truth. Until then, the question of his return will linger, haunting the minds of those who seek to understand the legacy of this iconic and mysterious figure. Legends and tales of Valdor's indomitable prowess throughout the ages echoed in hushed whispers and grand epics. His name symbolized loyalty, and his deeds became awe-inspiring. From the Imperium's rise to the cataclysmic events of the Horus Heresy, Valdor's presence guided the Emperor's will and safeguarded humanity's future. Yet shadows of mystery enveloped him. The moniker, King in Yellow, is veiled in secrecy, hinting at a clandestine existence. The shroud of ambiguity concealed his true intentions, sparking speculations among those deciphering his actions. His final departure from Terra remains a poignant and cryptic moment in history. The City of Dust whispered its secrets as Valdor vanished, leaving a legacy of intrigue and profound impact. As an Imperial researcher amidst the sands of time, I ponder Valdor's true nature and the significance of his contributions to the Imperium. Was he a mere servant, bound to the Emperor's will without question? Or did he harbor a hidden purpose, tirelessly working for humanity's survival and prosperity? Perhaps, dear reader, the answer lies in the subtle shades of grey that pervade the complexities of Valdor's character. To understand him, one must grasp his emotions, motivations, and the forces shaping the revered and enigmatic figure he became.